So for the last year or so, I've been using the BlackBerry Z10 and of course the BlackBerry 10 operating system that comes with it. Before that, I used Android. I had the Galaxy Nexus, and before that, I used Windows Phone 7. And even before that, I used iOS, the iPhone 4. So I'm just recently getting back to iOS 7 now with the iPhone 5, 5S that is. And while it's a great phone, I think it's a wonderful phone. It has a nice build. The phone looks nice. It looks sleek in the hand. The screen is tack sharp. The battery lasts is pretty good. iOS 7 is also I do enjoy iOS 7. It's an overall nice phone, and Apple has a lot of good things going on for it. But after using all of the platforms for a while, it's hard to see why everyone just loves the iPhone. I do like the iPhone. It's a great operating system. I can see the appeal of it. But just because I use it doesn't mean I love it. It doesn't mean this is the only phone that I ever want to use again. It's a good phone, and I'll stick with it for a while. But I can still see the appeal of Android from an iPhone user. I can still see the appeal of Windows Phone from an Android user. And I can still see the appeal of BlackBerry from, again, an iPhone user. I can still see why each phone still exists. But I just don't understand what makes the iPhone 5 or just iPhone in general such a popular phone. So I thought about it for a while. I really wanted to get to the bottom of it. Is this just the Apple logo that just makes everyone go crazy? Is it, I don't know, customer service? Is it the Apple Store experience? I thought about it for a while, and I think I maybe I'm wrong, but I think I sort of have a little list of why I think the iPhone is such a popular phone. This may be wrong, may be right, but definitely leave a comment below. Tell me what you think after I state these points. And yeah, these of course just my honest opinions, my thoughts, and yeah, again, it's just why I think the iPhone has become such a popular device. Why it's become the father of all smartphones, you could say. The first reason why I think it's such a popular smartphone is because it has a good foundation. What do I mean by a good foundation? I mean, the timing for iPhone was, of course, great because it was one of the first, if not the first, smartphone in the market. And the way Apple released the iPhone, I'm not sure if you guys remember, around 2007, I think it was. Don't quote me on the date. If it was 2007, 2007. But 2007 when Apple first released it. But even before they released it, actually, do you remember when they first sent out the press conference invitations to the event? And people just went insane. Rumors started spreading around, vlogs, blogs, news articles again, PR firms, so on and so on. They started talking about this new technology that Apple was going to bring out. It's going to be this new alien technology. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a computer video game console. So your iPod, a cellular phone, all in one. It's going to be called the iPhone. It's going to be this amazing device that was going to change our lives forever. And to a certain extent, the iPhone did change a lot of lives. And it's a great phone. But forget all that. It's just the timing that they had was great. They had, before their product was even released, they had a huge following with them. People were ready to buy this device before it came out. And do you guys remember Google's G1? That came out shortly after. That was a great phone. It was popular. A lot of people backed it up. People did buy it. But it just did not do as successfully as the iPhone just because it took a little bit longer to be released. It was like the second product to come out, and people still had faith in the iPhone at that time. It was like the iPhone was the first, so it's the best. People just kept going on and on with it. iPhone this, iPhone that. We gotta keep going with iPhone. Put your money to iPhone, and some people even thought, oh, the G1 was just an iPhone wannabe, which is not true at all. But at that time, people were just so infatuated with Apple and iPhone and this new godly technology, you could say. So I think that's the first reason why it was so popular, just because the timing that they released it, the way that they released it, things just went crazy. The second reason is maybe controversial and may get some people upset, but have you noticed a trend going on? That trend is with Macs. Now, I've been using Macs for a long time. Excuse me. I've been using Macs for a while, and this is before people started going crazy over Macs. I've been using Macs, and back then when I used Macs, probably 7 years ago, there weren't too many people using it actually. The only people that I knew using it were very artsy and creative people. Which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying back then it was just a handful of people that were using it. Everyone else, they were either using Windows. Nope, they were just using Windows. But nowadays, in the last year or so, maybe 3 years, it's like everyone owns one. Every college student owns one. Every college student owns. Every 5-year-old for some reason owns one. It's like this expensive technology, and it became so popular. So where am I getting at with that? The iPhone, the MacBook Pro, the iMacs, so on. So all of these Apple products are getting more and more popular, and people like to be very streamlined with the products that they use. That is to say, if you own a MacBook Pro, there's a good chance you're gonna be using an iPhone. Now, before I made this video, I didn't want to make a false video. Again, it's just my thoughts, so it probably is false, but I was in class and I noticed that trend. Everyone who used a MacBook had an iPhone. I saw this in Starbucks. People who use MacBooks had an iPhone. Yeah, I was like stalking people, you can say that. Anyone I saw, if you had a MacBook, there was a good chance you owned an iPhone. So, flip that around. What I've noticed, this is just a generalization of course, but what I've noticed is that people who use Windows machines, Windows laptops, Linux machines, they're more inclined to use Windows phones or more inclined to use an Android phone. I'm not sure if it's just we use Windows so we hate Apple so we won't get an iPhone, or it's just because, again, they want to stay streamlined to their product. So again, this translates to my idea that because more Macs are getting popular, more people, Macs are becoming, as far as prices go, they've become more affordable in the last few years than what it used to be. So more people are buying it. So if more people buying it, they trust Mac, they trust computers. So they think they have a thought inside themselves that, okay, I can trust iPhones now. So they get the iPhone. Now again, I'm not sure if it's vice versa. Maybe the iPhone has just gotten so popular, so Macs have gotten so popular. Maybe that's why people buy Macs. But I honestly feel as though just because Macs are getting popular, they want to streamline their products. They want to stick, with the Apple ecosystem. You use iTunes on your Mac, you're gonna use iTunes on your iPhone. You use OS 10, whether it's Lion or Mavericks, you use iOS. People tend to want to stay with what they know. That is to say, whether it looks the same or it feels the same. That's the second reason why I think iPhones are getting so popular. So, the third point that I want to bring up sort of relates to what I just said. It's that Apple does not change their product much. From iPhone to iPhone, yes, a lot has changed. You can add folders now. You can notification center is there. You can see everything with a swipe. A lot has changed, don't get me wrong. But as far as the core operating system, the core iOS, it is still very similar. And after each iPhone, it stayed pretty much the same. From one iOS to the next update. It's been very streamlined. iOS 7 was the biggest change, and all they did was add, they added a lot of aesthetic changes, but as far as the core operating system, iOS 7 works the same as iOS 6. You create the folders the same way. All the icons is just still right on the desktop. It's still on the same plane. You just swipe over to see all your icons, so on and so on. It's very similar. Now, what am I getting at? That people like what they are familiar with. People aren't going to be happy when I say people, consumers, buyers, users of iPhones. Your typical buyer of an iPhone, if you give them an iPhone and you give them another iPhone that's completely different, they're gonna be like, whoa, how do I get to my settings? People want something simple, I guess. This is what I think about. This is what I've come up with after months of thinking, that people want to stick with what they know. They want to pick up the new operating system with a little bit of tweaks and still say, oh, here's all my stuff. I can get to it. It's about the same. Settings is still the same, this and that. They want to feel like they're at home. And, Apple, I think the Apple got that down with little incremental updates. They didn't change anything, so people didn't go crazy. I remember, I'm not going to bash on Windows because I like Windows 8. I do. From Windows 7 to Windows, I like the change in Windows 8. But I remember when Windows 8 first came out, people were like, what in the world? These tiles, this is too much of a change. People got really upset. Now, more and more people are getting used to it. But at the time, people were really upset with Windows 8 just because it was such a change from Windows 7 to Windows 8 that people weren't used to the idea. So, a lot of people from there, they either, got used to it or they switched over to Mac. So that's why I think that, the third reason why I think iPhones are so popular. The fourth reason why I think iPhones are so popular is because of the way they advertise their product. Now again, I love all of the operating systems. I love Android for what it is. I love Windows for what it is. I love Blackberries for what it is. And you know how much I love Blackberries if you see my previous videos. But the way Apple in particular advertises their product, whether it's true or not, they advertise it very professionally. If you watch all of the advertisements, I'm not saying it has to be a guy with a suit and tie. I'm just saying that the way it's advertised, it's either very friendly or very family. And give you that heartwarming feeling in all of the advertisement. Or even that, aside from that, if it's not that, it's very technical and it just shows you how great their product is. And this translates to a more professional name brand. And why is that important as far as making it a popular phone? If you're going to have a company, say you have a company, and you have employees, say you give your employees a business phone, a company phone, and you're going to give them an iPhone, or any phone, that of the matter. You want to give them a phone that will represent professionalism. You're not going to give them you're not going to give them in today, you're not going to give them the Nextel to use the walkie-talkie because that's not seen professionally anymore. So again, just because Apple has advertised their products to be that professional product, more businesses are inclined to buy it because it makes their company as a whole look professional. And again, it's just my thoughts, whether it's true or not. You're not going to run a business and give all your employees any cell phone that was recently advertised as some sort of skateboarding or if you're not gonna give your company a phone where the main feature is, oh, you can, I don't know, turn into a skateboard. That's the best thing I can think of. But yeah, you kind of get what I'm saying, don't you? I hope you do at this point, because I think I'm losing myself because I thought about this a little bit too much. Let's see. The next reason why I think the iPhone is so popular is because Apple releases a new iPhone approximately the same time every year. So there's always a release date. It's sort of like Christmas to some people when the new iPhone comes out. I can't remember what day it is, what month it is, but somewhere close to the end of the year, maybe September. But at around that time, Apple releases their next iPhone. So once that iPhone is released, people buy it, they're happy, so and so. And for the next 8 months, there's just constant rumors leading up to the next iPhone event. Now, this differs from other smartphones because, all of the newer smartphones, the Nexus or Samsung, so on and so on, I appreciate them releasing news about their phone before it's actually released. I like that because I hate the wait. But as far as their business goes, people are like, all right, when is it gonna come out? They don't have an approximate date to look forward to, so it's just kind of in the air as far as rumors and stuff goes. And back to Apple and the iPhone. when you have that specific date, people are like, oh, at that time Apple's gonna release a 6-inch screen. At that time, iOS 8 is gonna come out. So on and so on. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going crazy. It's late. But yeah, the last reason why I think the iPhone is such a popular phone is because this is gonna be, again, very controversial. Not that much, but iPhones, after each update, they only change one or two things. We all know this, right? And I think it's pretty messed up that we wait a year. We spend so much money to get a small incremental update. But that's more for the S lines, 4S, 5S. But even with the next, even from 4S to 5, yes, the screen was larger. There wasn't a huge, humongous, like groundbreaking change between the two phones. And Apple does this very, very strategically. I'm not sure if they planned this, but what I've noticed after doing some research, after reading articles, if you read, say, a Samsung Galaxy S4 article that when it was first released, before it was released, some press release that is, if you read anything, they have, say, 10 new features, right? That article glances over all 10 features. Oh, you can look through it really quick with your eyes. You can move your hands to swipe the page. They glance over it really quick to get all 10 points across. Apple, they changed one thing. Remember the iPhone 4? We have a Retina display. And at that time, Retina display was like the cutting edge technology. It was amazing. Again, it was some alien technology. So people went insane over it. And when that was released, that's all the news article had to focus on. They just wrote this big article about, all right, look at this screen. It's amazing. The pixels are so dense that, people, after reading it 400 times an article, after that message was pushed into their brains a million times, they were curious to find out what it was. And, they were more inclined to find it out. People were becoming more and more aware of iPhone because of, this one thing that just blew up. And then with iPhone 4S, we had Siri, and again, it was this groundbreaking technology at the time where, what is it? I know Google Voice, the Google Voice. Okay Google, and I think Okay Google's better than Siri, but that's another story. But I'm saying at that time, when Siri came out, it was like, oh my god, you can talk to your phone. That's amazing. Watch me set a time. Watch me set an appointment with my phone by just talking to it. Hello Siri, set an appointment for 2 o'clock. Oh my god, that's amazing. At that time, people were really hyped up on Siri. So again, it was like every headline stories, every news article. And then with iPhone 5, it's an incremental change. Oh, it's a 5-inch, 4-inch screen. It's larger, but you can just use one hand to reach from one corner to the other. What other phone can you do that with? No other phone. That's what they were saying. But yeah, then the iPhone 5S. Whether you use Touch ID or not, whether you agree with it, whether you like it or not, a lot of publicity came out from it just because of that little button. People were questioning whether or not, if it was safe, if it would work, whether or not NSA would get it, whether they would crack into it. Again, a lot of publicity came out of it. So, and that's why the iPhone is so popular, because that little thing, just take that for example, the Touch ID, there was so much news on it, there was so much press on it, there was so much advertising going on, so much word of mouth going on. People were talking about it, negative or positive. It just created so much awareness of the product in Apple that, people again are more inclined to buy what they are aware of. How can you buy a product that you don't know exists? But with the Apple iPhone, everyone knows about it. So yeah, guys, that was just my thoughts on why I feel as though the iPhone is so popular. Now, again, you can agree or not. I would like to hear what you guys think. I do think it's a good phone. I'm not here to bash on the iPhone, and it's a good phone. As I mentioned earlier, it's an overall nice phone. I just don't like it when people dismiss other phones, not just specific brands, but specific operating systems as well. I like the Nexus 5. I like the Windows Lumia 1020. I wish I owned the BlackBerry Z30. so on and so on. I like all the phones because they cater to a specific market, they cater to specific people, and they're all nice for what they are. But it's just I get bored, you could say, of just talking to people with just iPhones, where their mind is only on iPhones, or vice versa, or on the other side, where people are just so content with Android that they're like, Android's so customizable that we hate so and so. I want you guys or whoever to understand that there's more to the one operating system. There's a lot more to it. If you like iPhone, give Android a shot. Not saying switch over, just understand that it's good for something. There's a reason why it exists. Yeah, it's for money, but it offers a different experience that you may have not tried out. And if you're an Android user, you have to understand that iPhones are made for simplicity. Some people don't want to upgrade things. Some people don't want to change their skin on their phones, so on and so on. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this random talk show about the iPhone. Yeah, that was some deep thinking. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a nice one.